All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the beginning of the term, at the beginning of the year actually, and review something that we talked about way back then, and that is the idea of integers or signs. So we're going to do a little revision of those rules, and then I'm going to give you an assignment where you're going to be practicing both things, combining like terms, but combining like terms when they have signs. Okay, it's been a while since we've done this, so it's going to be a good chance to review. So remember that when you're talking about signs, those plus and minus are the signs of a term. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to remind ourselves of the rules for combining with signs. Because remember, back when we did this, some of the things that look like addition actually turn out to be subtraction, and things that look like subtraction actually turn out to be addition. It depends on the combination of signs, and that's one reason it's called combining or collecting like terms instead of adding or subtracting them, because it all depends on the signs that we have. And remember, there are two rules. First rule: if the signs are the same, so that means that we're dealing with either two positives or two negatives. Okay? We're going to, keep the sign and add the numbers. So those are the key words there. Keep the sign and add the numbers. So it doesn't matter if they're both positive or if they're both negative. What we're interested in are the signs the same or are they different? Okay? And if they are the same, then so either both positive or both negative, then we're going to keep whatever sign they have, so they'll stay positive or stay negative, and then we'll simply add the numbers together.
Question: is that sign plural or singular?
When we combine them, it will be
singular.
when we combine them, it'll be singular because you'll only have one left.
Okay.
But in the beginning, you're going to have more than one. Good
Got
question.
it, because you said it as plural but wrote it as singular, so I got confused.
Okay, so if the signs are the same, you're going to keep the sign and then add. Okay? All right. Now, the other rule is just the opposite. If the signs are different, meaning that one of them is negative and one of them is positive, right? And it matters which one, so pay close attention to which one's which. We're still going to keep the sign, but we keep the sign, does anybody remember? Of the largest. All right, so you just look at your numbers, and the bigger number is going to tell the smaller one what to do. Imagine that. So you'll keep the sign of the largest and subtract the numbers. Sorry, I'm getting smaller there, but I'm running out of room. So keep the sign of the largest and subtract the numbers. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So I'm going to start with just some numbers. So say we have 5 plus 2. Now that just looks like straight addition, just like we've always done. But remember that we're going to concentrate on the signs, and if the 5 doesn't have a sign, what do we assume it to be?
Positive.
Positive, excellent. So the sign of the 5 is positive. The sign of the 2 is positive. So the signs are the same. Yes, they're both positive, so that means the signs are the same. So I'm going to keep that sign and add the numbers. So my completed answer is positive 7, and since it's all by itself, it doesn't need a sign. You can just write it as 7. But listen closely. You can never have too many signs but you can certainly have too few signs. So if you think for 1 second that you might make a mistake with this, then this is how you want to write your answer. Okay? Now, in the book, they won't. They'll put it like this. But it doesn't make any difference. That plus 7 is not, if you put that plus in front of the 7, it is not wrong. Okay? You know where you are in your mathematics career, so you do what you need to do. Okay? All right. Let's look at another one. Say we have -5 minus 2. Now, it says minus 2, so we would normally think, oh, we're going to subtract those numbers. But again, remember, we're not talking about working with those pluses and minuses as being addition or subtraction anymore. Those pluses and minuses are now the signs. And so we let the signs tell us what rule to use. So what is the sign of the 5, guys?
Negative.
What's the sign of the 2? Good?
Negative.
So they're both negative.
Positive.
Well, So they're both negative. So the signs are the same. So I'm going to keep the sign and do what to the numbers?
Subtract.
Yeah.
What?
Add them. There you go.
Add them.
Keep the sign and add. There you are. Now, I have to have the negative in front of the 7. There's no option there. So that's my completed answer. I must have the negative. Okay? So we're going to practice some of these so that you can get those rules. So be very careful. Now, I also want to remind you that 2 negatives never make a positive. That is not a thing. Okay? So be careful. That rule floats around there. Every math student ever in the whole world has learned it. It's not a rule. Okay? So be careful. All right. Let's look at some more. Now, that's when the signs are the same. Pretty straightforward, but you just have to remember that you've got to focus on what you're looking at. You have to really focus on what it is you're seeing there. Okay? Second rule says that if the signs are different. So, say I have 5 minus 2. Now, this just looks like subtraction like we've been doing since primary school, right? But we're going to think of it as a sign. What is the sign of the 5?
Positive.
Good. What's the sign of the 2?
Negative.
So I'm going to, are the signs the same or different?
Different.
Different, excellent. So the bigger one always tells the smaller one what to do. So in this case, 5 is the bigger number. So the answer is going to be what sign then?
Positive. 5.
Well, the answer is going to be positive. Don't worry about the number yet, just the sign, positive. Always do the sign first and write it down first. And then I simply subtract. Guys, there's some background noise going on there. We need to...
Molly, can you mute your mic?
Yeah, thank you. All right, and then 5 minus 2, of course, is simply
3.
3. Okay, there you go. What if I have -7 plus 3? Now, are the signs the same or different? Different. And remember, the larger one always tells the smaller one what to do. So here's the larger one. And what sign is it?
Negative.
It's negative. So that means my answer is also going to be a negative. And then I simply take the numbers and subtract them. What is 7 minus 3 going to give me?
Negative.
4. And so my completed answer is -4. And if you already write the sign down, then it's there waiting for you. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay? Let's do another one. Say I have 2 minus 12. So, are the signs the same or different?
Same.
Yeah?
Different.
Different. That 2 is positive and the 12 is negative. There you go. Be careful. Okay. So the signs are different. So that means I'm going to keep the sign of which one? The bigger one. And the larger one is the negative. So that means my answer is going to be negative. And then I'm simply going to subtract the numbers. Now, it says 2 minus 12. But when you're subtracting, you always take the bigger one minus the smaller one. And if you already have the sign there, it doesn't matter.
I was right, it was 10.
So the completed answer is, well, not 10, but what?
-10.
-10. Remember, we said there's no such thing as a number without a sign anymore after we learned integers, okay? We've been practiced with it in a bit, but now we have. Okay? Now, what we need to do, though, is we need to look at a few of these combined with having like terms. It doesn't change the sign rules, but you still have to remember like terms. So, say for example, we have 14x's, I'm saying negative 14x's plus 2x's. First thing I have to determine is if I can combine them at all, which means in order to combine them, they have to be like terms. This one is an x term. This one is an x term. Are they therefore like terms?
Yes.
Yes. So they are like terms, therefore they can be combined. And so we're going to combine them using the sign rules. What is the sign of the 14?
Negative.
Good. What is the sign of the 2x?
Positive.
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 Are the signs the same or different?
Different.
Different.
If the signs are different, then I'm going to keep the sign of which one?
The bigger.
Negative.
The
Biggest.
larger
Negative.
one, which in this case is the negative. And then I'm simply going to do what with the numbers?
Subtract.
Subtract them.
Add
So,
them.
come on. So,
Add them.
nope. Subtract. The signs are different, right?
Subtract.
So 14,
Oh, yeah.
14 minus 2 makes what?
12.
12. And
Negative
what?
X.
And of course, they're both x terms, so we can't lose our variable. So make sure you put that in.
That's not.
So our completed answer is negative 12x. All right? So what I want to do is I want to pop to the book for a few minutes and just do a couple of examples that they have. They don't have that many, but the signs are not going to go away. So we have to be really prepared to work with the signs. And we're going to work with just combining today. And then the next time we're going to revise the multiplication and division sign rules. But for today, we're just going to do the combining rules. So let's go to the book. Sorry, it always loses my spot. Okay, so we did 1 and 2 yesterday. So let's look at some examples from number 3. This is what your assignment is going to be today. So let's just go ahead and do A. So A, it says 3z's minus 5z's. Okay? Or z's, if you're so inclined. Okay? Doesn't make any difference to me. First of all, we want to combine these. In order to combine them, they have to be like terms. Are these two like terms?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, they're both z or z terms. Good. If that's the case, then I'm going to combine the coefficients and then keep the base and exponent. So my coefficients are positive 3 and negative 5. So are those signs the same or different?
Different.
Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is look at the signs. They're different, which means I'm going to keep the sign of which one?
The bigger number.
The bigger number, which in this case is
Negative.
the negative 5. Good, so my answer is going to be a negative. And then I'm simply going to subtract them. So what's 5 minus 3 going to leave me?
2.
2, and 2 what?
Z.
Z.
Negative 2.
So my completed answer, oh sorry, I keep forgetting Z, Z. There you go. So negative 2Z. How's that?
Question: why do you write your z's like that?
With the little line,
It's such weird.
in algebra, because we don't want, when you're writing, especially in a hurry, many times you have 2's and z's and they look a lot alike, don't they? But if you draw
No, not really.
if you draw that little line across, then you always know which one's which.
That looks like the euro sign.
So,
Okay.
kind of, except that's like that. Anyway, okay, all right, here we go. So let's look at another one. It's a good question, guys. All right, here we are. Here we have 3 terms in G. Doesn't change the rules at all. So we have negative 3y minus 2y. So the first thing we need to do is see if they are all like terms. Are these all like terms?
Yes.
Yes, they are all what kind of terms?
Why?
Y terms. Good. Get used to the terminology. Get used to saying things, because the more you can put that in your head, the easier your life is going to be. So these are all y terms. Therefore, they can be combined. So what I'm going to do is, to combine them, I'm just going to combine the coefficients. But to combine the coefficients, I need to pay attention to the signs. Now, one thing that some of you might want to do is, anywhere there's not a number, we can always assume that number is a what?
1.
A 1. Now, I still put it in sometimes, depending on how complicated the problem is. If there's a lot of stuff going on, you don't want to lose it. So it never hurts to put that 1. It will never be wrong if you put it in there. Okay? All right. So we're just going to look at the signs. Now, in this case, notice that all 3 of them have the same sign. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then what I'm going to do is simply keep that sign. Since they're all negative, my answer will also be negative. And then what am I going to do to the numbers? Add them. Excellent.
them.
So 3 plus 1 makes
4.
4, plus 2 more makes
6.
6. And there's still what kind of terms?
Y
Y terms. Good. So my completed answer is negative 6y.
Negative 6y.
Pretty good, eh? It's coming back to you? All right. So nothing really changes except that in some of them you're going to have different terms. Remember, they have to be like terms to combine them. So down here on R, I have y terms, x terms, and a constant term. Can I combine all 4 of those things?
No.
No, I can only combine the y terms, right? And then the other terms were just going to stay the same. If you can't combine them, remember, they just stay the same. All right, so what we're going to do is, again, I want this assignment written out in your book. So when you're writing it, you write it like I did. Remember what I did? Well, I didn't do the whole thing. So if it's number 3, it's A was 3z minus 5z's, right? I determined the sign, I subtracted the numbers, and I put the thing. So write down the problem, write down the answer, okay? So that I can see exactly what it is you were doing.
Do we have to send you our work or just our notes?
You send me your work. So what we're going to do today is this exercise. So this exercise is on page 151. So you're going to do page 151, number 3, and you're going to do all of them.
What if you don't finish?
Really need you to practice with those. Well, you have some time, and you should be able to get most of them done. If not, send me. And it's not. And I don't want you to send it to me and you don't have to send it to me until the next class, right? I know I know you're not supposed to have homework, but sometimes you're not going to have time for everything in class. You still have quite a few minutes. You've got 25 minutes left to work on these. But you can work on it later a little bit too. Remember, in mathematics, a little bit at a time is usually a good thing. Okay? So try to carve out at least a little time to try to read over your notes and do a little practice. Okay?
So do we just do the whole of 3?
Yeah, all of 3. Mm-hmm. That's it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now then tomorrow, or next time I see you, I'm not sure when the next time I see you. Next time I see you, we're going to revise the multiplication and division rules. So if you want to look over those, you can. They're back in your notes from when we did the number section, but you don't have to. I'm going to go over it just like I did today, so it'll be very complete. All right?
Mr. Self, how do we send it to you? Like, what do we send it on?
You can just take a picture of it and email it to me. You can scan it in on it using a printer and send it to me. It doesn't matter to me.
My
Okay.
laptop won't let me insert photos into anything, like Teams, OneNote, or anything.